Hello everyone, the Army of Otters here, and welcome back to the Unexplored Capital Wasteland. Today we're going to be checking out Roosevelt Academy, which is a pretty large location. However, there are not really any quests associated with it, besides the fact that we can find sheet music within Roosevelt Academy, which we can give to Agatha. Now, Roosevelt Academy might be very well known with Fallout New Vegas players, because on Eddie, the iRobot that can be your companion, there is a piece of junk or just a sticker attached to Eddie that reads, "My child is an honor student at Roosevelt Academy." Obviously a reference to this academy in Fallout 3. And it's also worth mentioning that Roosevelt Academy is based on the real-world Theodore Roosevelt High School, which is in Washington, D.C., so a pretty cool reference to a real-world location in Fallout 3. And of course, Theodore Roosevelt was the 26th president of the United States. He is a very popular president, one of my favorites as well, and his face is featured on Mount Rushmore. And with that, Roosevelt Academy is located just north of the MDPL mass relay station, kind of in the western part of the map. Now, as you approach, you will immediately notice there's a lot of Super Mutants here, and there are a plethora of Super Mutants that have made this former high school or just academy or some kind of school their home. So we will have to kill all of those Super Mutants, obviously. Now, the first building we'll check out is the Academy building itself. Now, as you enter, a Wastelander will be thrown from above in the ceiling, and we can loot him, but he doesn't have anything good on him. Be careful, as there is a Super Mutant above us that will lob grenades down towards you. Now, if you head to the eastern part of the building, we will find this bathroom, which contains a copy of Pugilism Illustrated, which will increase our unarmed skill. Pretty good. Now, if we head towards the back here, we will find the headmaster's office. Unfortunately, there was no Albus Dumbledore. We only found a Super Mutant Brute. But, hey, we shot him in the head. And then there's a pre-war book on the desk. And there's also a computer we can hack, and this will activate the Protectron that we saw earlier in the video. And this Protectron, which is named Dean Dewey, will ask the player character to present a hall pass. Now, if the player character does not have this pass, which you cannot, the Protectron will attack you unless you have Robotics Expert perk or Child at Heart perk. And also, if you have below 3 intelligence, he will not attack you and instead escort you to the special education room. So pretty funny. Now we're on the western part of the school, and in here we can find the nurse's office, and there's a DC Journal of Internal Medicine, which is pretty good, along with some first aid boxes. Now, one more thing about Dean Dewey, the Protectron, is that he was possibly named after Thomas E. Dewey, the Republican candidate who ran against Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1944, or it could be a reference to the Dewey Decimal System, a library classification system, which has been used in the U.S. public library and school libraries for over 100 years. Not really clear where his name came from, but those are two possible places. Now, unfortunately for me, Dean Dewey met his end at the hands of the Super Mutants, and they continue to chuck grenades down on me, which is really sad. Now, also throughout the school, you will see some American propaganda, obviously about the war against China at that time. Now, also outside of the school, there's some interesting propaganda from Vault Tech, talking about the vaults and, nuclear war, which is quite scary. Now, as we make our way to the top, we can find the Super Mutant who was throwing grenades on us. He is unarmed otherwise, and he will just try and fight you with his fist. And there's also a Super Mutant with a hunting rifle up here on the top. There's a small chair, I guess, maybe used by the Super Mutants to just watch the entrance for unsuspecting Wastelanders to enter. In this back room, we have some ammunition crates, along with an average locked cabinet that really only didn't have anything in it, a 10mm Chinese pistol and some ammunition. Now, also worth mentioning, this academy is pretty big, and there are a ton of Super Mutants in here, but as far as loot and stuff, there really isn't that much else of interest. Now, if you head on down to the basement, we can find the entrance to the maintenance and evacuation tunnel, which we will talk about later, but we're going to enter from the Arts and Athletics Hall. Now, I did find this bathroom with a dead settler that apparently may have been tortured by Super Mutants as they were eaten alive by rad roaches. Pretty freaking scary. After that, we'll head on over to the Arts and Athletics Hall, where we will find a lot of Super Mutants and a pretty epic fight in this kind of small theater area. Now, do be aware, there are several high-leveled Super Mutants. I do believe they are leveled, but I had to fight about 3 or 4 Super Mutant Masters in this area, which was pretty tough for me, but thanks to Dogmeat and my Chinese assault rifle, we were able to take care of it. Now, this little play area is pretty cool because we have a really rare replica of a city in Fallout 3 with miniature versions of Fallout 3's buildings. Also in the corner over here, not this corner, the corner on the stage, we can find the sheet music book next to these music stands, and this sheet music book can be given to Agatha, and in return she'll give you the Black Hawk and good karma. So pretty good, and somewhere we still need to visit in the Unexplored Capital Wasteland. Now, as you explore the rest of the building, you will find some hallways and just classrooms. In this back room, I was actually pretty scared by this mannequin in real life. It made me jump a bit. Don't know why, it's not that scary. I was just not expecting a mannequin and a dead radio next to each other. Here's more Super Mutants. This place is littered with them. Down there, that takes us to the maintenance tunnels. We'll return there later. And then you can make your way to the top floor, and you definitely want to do that because there's some good loot. Now, on the top floor, we can find the locker room. There's really nothing in here. However, in this kind of side office or side room, we can find an Enclave radio and then a first aid box that is locked, had some good stim packs in it. Now, on this desk where there's 2 ammunition boxes, we can find a copy of Tumblers Today, which will increase our lockpick skill behind the ammunition boxes. Pretty good find. There's also a safe with random loot that had a lot of caps, some energy cells, and pre-war money for me. Now, I found another rad roach that apparently had killed a settler. Maybe it was just killed by Super Mutants. Who knows, but I really enjoyed this building. It was kind of unique, kind of special, and this little concert hall is really cool in my opinion, and I just love the miniature version of Fallout 3's houses. And after that, since the library is locked, we will make our way down into the maintenance and evacuation tunnels. These are just a series of tunnels that connect all 3 buildings of Roosevelt Academy together. Now, as you can see here, you have to be really careful while you're down here because there are several gas leaks, and using laser weapons or just any kind of firing weapon will obviously trigger the gas. Now, over in this corner, we have a lot of ammunition along with some radaway, and these ammunition boxes are really cute. They're like miniature versions of ammunition boxes. Then down the staircase next to where we found those ammunition boxes, we can find this large kind of central room, and in this room we can find another copy of Pugilism Illustrated. So pretty good if you want to increase your unarmed attack. Now, there is a Super Mutant Brute in here that tried to charge me, but he failed. And after that, there is an easy locked door, and this will lead us kind of to this larger tunnel. Now, you can go south or north, and if we go north, it'll take us back towards the Roosevelt Academy, which was the first building that we explored. Now, we'll go ahead and head that way now, though, and along the way, there will be some centaurs and a lot of Super Mutants, including a Super Mutant Master that I had to fight that took a little bit of time, so I sped it up. Now, as I made my way, I did find a very easy locked door, and inside was a Wastelander that was being held hostage, a captive. Now, you can untie her and free her like I did. And I was very surprised to find this because I did not see this mentioned on the wiki at all, and I was a bit surprised about that. Maybe it's just not that extraordinary, but I thought it was pretty cool and pretty interesting, and something I definitely wasn't expecting after I conducted my research about this location. So make sure to stop on in and to free this captive, or you could enslave her, I guess, if you're going for an evil playthrough, but there's my karma gain. Now, as we make our way towards the Roosevelt Academy, we'll find a pretty disturbing scene. There are several skeleton remains of what appears to be child or teenage bodies. So perhaps during the early stages of the Great War, the students of Roosevelt Academy tried to make their way into these tunnels, but obviously the radiation or explosion killed them. Now, as we make our way to the southern part of the maintenance tunnels, we can find a first aid box with some minor loot. There's also a switch, and if we turn on the switch, it'll open up this grater above us, and this will allow us entrance to Roosevelt Library. Now, in Roosevelt Library, it is pretty small, which is kind of nice, I guess, after exploring so much of these buildings. However, there is a super mutant overlord that was waiting for me with a minigun. So a pretty intimidating battle. Now, in that bathroom, there was a stealth boy, as you can see. And here is the super mutant overlord. I decided just to fire a mini nuke off into the room, and it didn't even kill him. It took freaking Dogmeat to bite him in the chest in order to kill him. But hey, whatever works, works, right? After that, you can obviously loot him, and he has the library key on his dead body. And then also on this desk is a bottle of Nuka-Cola Quantum and a Stealth Boy, but of course they got shifted and flown around for me just because I used a mini nuke. However, they were not too far from where they were. As you can see, the Nuka-Cola Quantum just got pushed underneath the desk. There's also a locked safe, which had some pretty decent loot, and there's also a first aid box, which contained one single stim pack for me. And here's the stealth boy just below the desk. Then I decided to take the minigun from the super mutant. After that, I made my way to the second floor of the library, but there's literally nothing up here, just a bunch of empty bookshelves and some desks. And then that pretty much concludes all 3 buildings of Roosevelt Academy, at least all of the loot and the interiors of each building. Outside, we have this small courtyard with super mutants wandering around. And then also to the west, we have this random kind of rail car. Don't know why it's here. But I did want to talk about these various trains on the eastern part of the academy. There appears to have been some kind of train crash up here on the eastern part of the university. There's various train cars, and I really don't know why they're here. However, in the background, obviously in the back there towards the south, we can see the railroad for Washington. I almost said New Vegas, for Washington, D.C., so perhaps when the bombs fell, one of the trains came flying off the tracks towards the school. Who knows? Then as we continue further east of the academy, we can find a very interesting character that was killed by this rad scorpion, big rip, but we can find a wanderer, not the lone wanderer, which is our character, just a wanderer. Very interesting. He also has the Wanderer's leather armor, which is unique armor within Fallout 3. And we can also find his little encampment over here along this kind of dry river bed. Now, in this camp, we can find a locked ammunition box, and of course we can open it. And then above us, we can find a mini nuke, which is really good, and this kind of a random piece of loot to find way out here. So definitely want to take that. And there's also a pre-war book on top of this table, along with another ammunition crate. Now, I also wanted to mention is there are a lot of rad scorpions out here in the middle of this area. So no wonder this wanderer got killed. And I also wanted to mention that you can find dog bowls at the Wanderer's encampment. And dog bowls are kind of a rare item in Fallout 3. So if you want to like collect all the items or something, this is one place where you can always find them. And then I decided to bring a wanderer back to his or her encampment. Anyways, don't know why they are out here, but very interesting. And also worth mentioning that their appearance changes in every playthrough of Fallout 3. So sometimes they are a man, sometimes they are a woman. It is always randomly generated. Alright guys, and I think that pretty much covers Roosevelt Academy and a lot of the surrounding area. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that you learned a thing or two about Fallout 3 or perhaps Fallout New Vegas. If you guys have any recommendations for a future video or future location, please post them in the comments section below. And, as always, until next time.